I'm on a commercial metal roof in Montgomery, Alabama. I wanted to highlight a common problem that we see on metal roofs every single week. People think that a metal roof is the cure-all to all roofing issues. And while the metal in and of itself is a very good system, a solid 26 gauge metal roof can last 75 years if it's properly maintained. The problem that we see with metal roofs are penetrations in the roof, sidewall flashings, and the biggest problem is fasteners. And this roof is a good case study of that. This roof has hundreds, if not several thousand fasteners across the whole roof. And I'm on the lower level of the roof. That's the upper level there. But I wanted to stay on the lower level because I feel like that's indicative of everything else, and it's a good representation. So what we've got is on the inside of this building, this is a commercial warehouse slash office. They're having several leaks. Some of them are chronic leaks, and what makes it difficult to pinpoint a leak on a roof like this is every single screw or fastener is could be the culprit, and it's very hard to know which one. Water, when it gets inside a building, does not travel in a linear fashion, so it makes it extremely difficult to pinpoint which screw. I'm going to zoom in on a few of these screws here. All of these screws are beginning to corrode, to rust away. The top of the screw head is beginning to rust, and right underneath the screw head is a rubber gasket that keeps the water out, and that gasket is beginning to dry rot and just kind of melt away from every single one of these screws. And there's literally several thousand up here. So in a situation like this, the best way to address the problem is to change out all the screws. There's really no simple fix to something like this. The roof looks like it's maybe 30 years old. So the metal still looks pretty good to be 30 years old, but it's each individual fastener. Here's a pretty bad one right here. You can see it's completely rusted away. You can see the gasket right there is completely coming undone. That's definitely letting water in, and that's indicative of probably 75% of the screws on this roof. The problem is that they all let a little bit of water in, but it usually dries in the insulation before it shows on the inside. When you have real heavy rains like we've been having the last few weeks here in Montgomery, those leaks begin to surface on the inside because they don't have time to dry in the insulation. So our proposition to the building owner will be to replace at least all the screws directly above where there's signs of water. It would be a proactive, preventative approach to actually change out all the screws on the roof. And there's several thousand. I haven't. There's ways to count the screws without actually counting the screws. You can count the panels and multiply by how many are on the panels. So that's the problem here, and we see this on a lot of metal roofs. The actual metal is in decent shape, but it's the fasteners that are causing the problems. And you can put silicone around the fasteners, but that's kind of a cheap, temporary fix. The best way is to get a screw that is slightly thicker than the current fastener. Take the current fastener out, install the new thicker screw. It engages in the metal underneath, and it creates new threads underneath, and it should last another 15 years after that. And so with the metal roof, it's important to maintain the metal roof over the years and change out the fasteners, depending on what kind of fastener you use, every 10 to 20 years. And this roof is definitely time to change out the fasteners. This is Billy Guyette with Guyette Roofing. I'm in Montgomery, Alabama. Thank you.